Hi class. So the last piece of our lesson on point slope form that I wanted to talk about was how we can apply word problems to any situation where we have a point and a slope. So one of the things that you may want to do is record your point slope form at the top of your page. That is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Also, your slope formula, which is m equals y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. You'll notice at the top of this page that there are 3 questions dealing with point and slope applications, and then at the bottom of the page, questions 4, 5, and 6 dealing with 2 points. So for 1, 2, and 3, when we talk about a point and a slope, we want to gather the information that we can use that represents a point and the slope in each situation. So number 1 says, Chit Chat Wireless charges 30 cents per minute plus a monthly base fee. In September, Maggie used 120 minutes and her bill was $51. Write and solve an equation to find the cost if Maggie uses 165 minutes in October. So for this scenario, we need to identify the slope. What is changing depending on the number of minutes that we use the phone? So we should be able to see that is 0.30. That will be the number we use for our slope in this scenario. We also need an x and a y in order to represent our point. In this case, 120 minutes cost $51. That represents an x, which is the number of minutes, and a y, which is the total cost in this scenario. Once we have our point and our slope, we can use what we learned last week and write our point slope form. So that would be y minus 51 equals 0.30 times x minus 120. Now, it doesn't specify here, but anytime we're talking about these word problems, we do want you to put your final answer in slope-intercept form. So what I mean by that is you want to solve for y. We're going to start by distributing our 0.30, which would give us 0.30x, and then 0.30, open my calculator here, 0.30 times negative 120 would give you negative 36. From there, we have to add 51 to each side to get y all by itself. So in this case, y will equal 0.30x. And then we will add our negative 36 with our 51, and that would give us a total of 15. So this would be the final answer for our equation. However, each one of these problems has 2 parts. In the next part, after it says write an equation, it also says solve an equation to find the cost if Maggie uses 165 minutes. Now, based on the point that we wrote earlier, minutes is our x value. So we are going to plug in the number 165 where we see x in our equation. Once I plug in that number, I can very easily type that entire expression in the calculator, 0.30 times 165 plus 15, and that would give us a total of $64.54, and 50 cents, I'm sorry. So, 2 parts to your answer. One part where we need to write the equation, the second part where we find the cost, or whatever the thing is they are asking for. So that gives you one example to follow. You're going to use this same process for number 2 and number 3. One of the things that I did go over with the other classes was what the slope and point would be for number 2 and 3. So if you look at number 2, there's a daily fee for renting a moving truck plus a charge of 50 cents per mile. This would be your slope, 0.50. If driven 48 miles, it costs $64 to rent the truck. There's your X and Y combination. X is miles, Y again is your cost. Write and solve an equation to find the daily fee. So you will follow the equation portion, set up your point slope form, distribute and solve for Y to get your equation. Then when it asks you to find the daily fee, this would mean that we didn't travel at all. We're just trying to find what we have to pay per day. So for this case, when you're plugging something in, you would plug in 0 for X for number 2. Okay? So make sure you continue with those numbers and follow the same process as we used for number 1 on number 2. Same idea for number 3. To lease a new car, you must make a down payment when you sign the lease. Then pay $199 per month. That should indicate if it's per month, that is your slope. 6 months after signing his lease, Mr. Scott had paid $2,694. So those are the values you are going to use for your point. X is in months, and again, Y is our cost. Write and solve an equation to find the total amount he will have paid after 3 years. This is a common place students make mistakes. Notice X is in months, but they give us a number to plug in that's in years. So we have to convert years to months when we plug this in our equation. So once you find your equation, you are going to plug in 36 because there are 36 months in 3 years. So keep that in mind for the second half of the problem on number 3. So that should give you a great starting point for the first 3 questions. Again, for 2 and 3, follow what we did to write and solve the equation on number 1. Now, for numbers 4, 5, and 6, you will notice that we talk about 2-point applications, meaning that we are missing the slope. We're given 2 points. To serve 1 person at a local restaurant, it takes 10 minutes. To serve 5 people, it takes 18 minutes. Write and solve an equation to find the number of minutes it will take to serve a party of 8. So for 4, 5, and 6, you're actually given X and Y combinations. The first one on number 4 would be 1 person takes 10 minutes to serve, and 5 people, it takes 18 minutes to serve. So you can see that X is the number of people and Y is the number of minutes. Okay? Now, when we have our 2 points, we are missing the slope. So we want to use that slope formula. I had written that at the top of your paper, y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. That formula is what you will have to begin using on number 4. So you'd have 18 minus 10 divided by 5 minus 1. 18 minus 10 is 8, 5 minus 1 is 4, and 8 divided by 4 is 2. This gives you the slope that you need to write your equation for these problems. After you have your slope, then you choose one of the points. I'm going to use the first one here just because the numbers are smaller, but you will get the correct result with either point. So we'll start by writing our point slope form. Y minus 10 equals 2, and then in parentheses, x minus 1. We want to put our answer in slope-intercept form, so we will distribute and solve for y. 2 times x is 2x. 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. We will add 10 to each side, and negative 2 plus 10 is positive 8. This is our equation. So that's the first part. Write an equation. The second part says solve an equation to find the number of minutes it will take to serve a party of 8. So we are going to plug in 8 for x in our equation, and we are going to simplify this expression. So we can type it directly in our calculator, or this one's pretty easy with mental math. Oh, sorry about that. 2 times 8 plus 8 would give us a total of 24, and y is minutes. So it would take a total of 24 minutes to serve these 8 people. So for 5 and 6, follow the same process. Identify your 2 points, find your slope, write your point slope form, solve for y, and then use your equation to evaluate whatever information the problem asks you to find. Hopefully this video helps you complete homework number 8, and when you are done, make sure you have it ready to turn in to me either online or the next time I see you in person if you are using the paper copy. Have a good day.